Waiting for the official thumbs up to get started, but I thought I would respect the people that were in here and give y'all a little bit extra of my time. Would that be all right? So I want to know what it is that brought you into this session. You know, what is it that you need to know, that you want to learn today about building a brand on the web? Anybody want to tell me why they came to this session? Right. Right. Sure. Well, let me ask you a question. You made a very good point. You want them to eat with their eyes first, right? How many of you guys been hungry at home and you see a Wendy's commercial and they talk about they make it your way? You know what I'm talking about? Right. So eating with your eyes is very important. So there's going to be two social media platforms that are going to be perfect for you. Obviously, Instagram and Facebook. You got to think about Facebook though, because people spend more time on Facebook than they spend anywhere else. So it's definitely, you want to draw them in. Instagram and Facebook is going to work great for you. And you got to figure out how to ship nationally using the good folks at FedEx, right? Because we can help you ship perishably even in ground transport, right? So how many of you guys are selling services? How many of you guys have service-based businesses? Okay, all right. And how many of you guys have e-commerce businesses, or you guys are like strictly online? Okay, some of y'all, well listen, no matter what you sell, you better be selling online, okay? Because your website, you need to turn into a cash register, no matter what you sell. And if you're selling professional services, figure out if there's some little piece of your business you could sell. You know, like an ebook, a book, you know, a course, something you could do even though you're a professional service business. Everybody might not be able to afford you at your top price point. So you want to make sure the folks down here can get a little taste, right? Anybody else want to tell me why you're here? Why did you come to this session? In the pretty, pretty flower dress. Tell me. Okay. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay, she wants to know, she said she does have a presence on Facebook and on, did you say Instagram? And she wants to know, and with the increasing competition, how can you differentiate? We're definitely going to talk about that in the presentation. Okay. Okay. Right. Wow, that's a great business. Where are you based? Okay. Okay. Right. What is the name of your business again? My Hospital Sitter. Okay. Okay. My Hospital Sitter. Did y'all hear that? All right. Sure. Right. Okay. We can definitely talk about that. Somebody else in the back, tell me why you're here. Mm-hmm. Right. So I have three words for you: content, content, content. All right, and we're going to talk about all the different types of content you can develop. But that's a very good point. How do you get outside of, mom and them, the folks that know you and love you already online? Anyone else? Okay. Mm. Wow. Mm-hmm. But what does your bank account say? If you're getting 310 calls in a week from a radio campaign, I mean, do you got the capacity to service all of that? Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. Sure. Right. Right. Uh-huh. Right, which makes sense, which makes sense. But as long as you're trading dollars for hours, you're going to keep beating yourself into the ground. And we can talk about that offline. That's not what this talk is about, but I will talk to you about that after the session. All right? We are ready to start, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to let our good folks from Black Enterprise formally kick it off, and we'll be ready to go. Because somebody gave me the high sign that we were ready to go. Oh, do you want me to just keep going? All right, well then I will introduce myself. We're ready to start. So you guys missed your opportunity, but that's okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melinda Emerson, but my nickname is the Small Biz Lady. Now, how many of you guys already follow me and already know who I am? Okay, shame on the rest of y'all. Like, listen, I have been out here for the past 9 years teaching people how to start and grow successful small businesses. I have not one but two best-selling books called Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months and How to Become a Social Media Ninja, right? So that's why they asked me to come here and hang out with you guys today. Thanks to the good folks at FedEx who are sponsoring my presentation today. They brought me here so that I can teach you guys how to become a brand in demand online. Now, as the Small Biz Lady, my brand reaches over 3 million entrepreneurs a week online via my blog, succeedasYourOwnBoss.com. I also do a live weekly tweet chat on Twitter every Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern, where I answer people's live small business questions. And in addition to that, I have a column in Huffington Post. I also have a column on smallbiztrends.com. Every now and again, I end up in Black Enterprise too. So this is my mission. This is my calling to end small business failure and give you guys tools and tips to live your dreams. Is that right? Now, here's the thing that I know for sure about being in business. We as entrepreneurs, we live how most people won't, so we can live how most people can't. Can somebody tell me about that? So where are you guys in your business? How many of you guys are 0 to 3 years in business? Raise your hand. 0 to 3 years in business. That's a good half of you. How many of you all are aspiring to be in business? Anybody aspiring to be in business? Couple, okay. And how many of you guys are past the 3-year mark? Now you're trying to figure out how to grow. Okay, good. So we've got about a 50-50 split. We got a couple of thinking about it every day at their desk, typing, trying to figure out how to quit this job, folks in here, right? So I know about that. I remember that. I remember getting headaches on the way to work in the morning. Does anybody remember that? And then I had to get free 18 years ago from my job. That was the last time somebody gave me a paycheck. So I will tell you that it's good to be free, but it's hard to be free, right? Because when you own a business, you do what? You sign checks on the front and the back, right? And sometimes you don't get to take one. Can anybody feel me on that? Okay, all right. But what I'm going to teach you guys is how to turn your business on steroids, because that's what social media is. Like when you're doing social media the right way, social media can take your business to, sometimes you think your competition is 30 miles around where your business is. Well, social media allows you to sell anywhere in the world. One of the most interesting things about my business at succeedasyourownboss.com, 22% of the readers of my blog are international. So I get letters from all kind of English-speaking countries around the world. Folks want help. So that's what the internet can do for you. I was very fortunate that back in 2008, when Twitter was like 2 years old, some publicist that I had said, look, you better figure out this social media thing. And I think that the place you need to go is Twitter. And I said to her, what is Twitter? What are you talking about? I literally didn't even know what she meant. And then we got on Twitter, and she said, okay, it's time for you to get your own Twitter account. And I said, okay. So I was on the phone in front of my computer, and I typed in Melinda Emerson. And then I got this notice back. This name is already taken. Now, I need you guys to understand that in 2008, for my name to be taken on Twitter was just pretty ridiculous, because I think I've met 5 other adult Melindas in my whole life. And I was one of those kids, in the gas station when you were kids, you go try to look for your name. Yeah, my name wasn't never there, right? So I just couldn't even believe that there was another Melinda Emerson and that she had gotten to Twitter before me. But it was okay, because my publicist said, that's all right, we're going to give you a nickname. And I said, a nickname? You mean like Mindy or Melly Mel or something? And she was like, no, fool, you're not a rapper. I'm not going to give you a nickname like that. And so I said, well, what are you going to call me? And she said, well, I want to give you a name that teaches people who you are and what you do. And I said, okay, well, like what? And she said, how about small biz expert? That's great keywords. And I was like, my first book isn't even out yet. I'm not sure I'm bold enough to step all the way there, And then she said, how about small biz guru? And I said, again, that's too much, right? I just didn't feel like me. So then she said, how about small biz lady? And I was like, yeah, I think I could be her. Well, now we know that was the best branding accident that ever happened to me, right? Because there are thousands of small business experts, but there's only one small biz lady. And I happen to be America's #1 small business expert. So it worked out for me, right? But being an early adopter and a pioneer is a lot of what really helped my business grow. And so now it's a lot harder, because there's a whole lot more people out there in social media. So what I'm going to talk to you guys is about how to really leverage the web, but to think about social media, web, and email all together. So when you think about how you're going to build your brand online, the first thing you want to do is look at your website. Because I have to tell you guys, if your website sucks, you really don't need to be spending any time in social media. Because the whole point of social media is to do what? Drive traffic back to your website. So if your website is not welcoming, how's that going to work for you, right? So we're going to talk today about what is a great website and how to have a great website. We're also going to talk about social media. And I know y'all know what the platforms are, so we're going to talk about some strategy related to social media. And then we're going to talk about email, because let me tell you guys, 87% of people selling stuff to you online are using email. But it's harder to penetrate with email, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. So here's the deal with your website. It's your #1 sales tool. It is the place people are going to go first before they ever ever pick up the phone to call you. So it is extremely important that you invest your time to make sure that you have a great user experience, that you check what your load speed is, that you make sure that you don't have a bunch of shopping cart abandonment going on because you're charging too much for shipping. Or do you have a two-step process or a one-step process for somebody to buy something off your website? The last thing you want to do is annoy paying customers, right? So you need to make sure that your website does what you say it's going to do, and that it's easy to use, it's got great pictures, and we're going to talk about all that stuff. So now, when it comes to building a website, it's about being on a really good platform. Now, I know some of you are e-commerce businesses, but a lot of you guys are professional service businesses. So you need a great WordPress website. And unless your business is building websites, please hire somebody to build your website. DIY websites look like DIY business cards. You know when people give you a DIY business card? And don't you look at it and be like, she printed this herself, didn't she? Thing, right? You know, and you feel like that when you go to somebody's website that their cousin did or they did in the middle of the night, right? It looks the same way. So you need to make sure that you have a website that is worthy of the service that you're going to give. And then you've got to figure out how you're going to connect your email to it. Because here's the thing, guys. I have over 350,000 followers on Twitter alone. But if I don't have your contact information, I really can't sell you very much. So it's really about having at least 2 to 3 ways to engage people to give you their email address when they get to your website. And the other thing, too, is you got to be able to take any form of currency. So you need a payment processing system through your website. It is extremely important. So you want to make sure that you're using, whether it's PayPal or Square. Some people don't like PayPal though, so you got to make sure that that's not your only option that you're using, that depending on who you're using for your accounting, you might be able to connect a payment processing through that or through Square. There's all kinds of stuff out here, but you need to make sure you can take money on your website. Right? Really, really important. So now let's talk about content, because the number one thing that can drive people to your website is content. But let me tell you, you do want to publish your own content, but you don't have to. I built over 50,000 followers on Twitter sharing other people's content before I even had a blog. So as long as what you share is helpful, it doesn't necessarily have to be your own. You can share pictures, quotes, video. But now, I'm a former television producer, so let me give you a public service announcement about video. Less is more, people, right? 2 minutes or less is plenty. Major corporations sell you things in 30 seconds. So I don't need 5 minutes from you to tell me what you do, right? So I need 2 minutes or less. But you have to understand that YouTube is the #2 search site on the internet. So how-to videos, how to use your product, how to hire you, how other people love working with you, all those things are perfect fodder for video. And it doesn't have to be, hugely produced now. Now these cell phones are producing video that's fantastic. So certainly there are times when you want to go into a studio and have something that's more polished, but you don't even really completely need that. Nowadays it's all about authenticity, right? So, the grittier the better kind of thing. So if stuff is too polished, you can actually turn off your audience depending on who your audience is. But then there's all kinds of other things. You can do podcasts, which are, audio interviews. How many of you guys are listening to podcasts on a regular basis now? A good number of you. So you need to think about if a podcast could work for you to promote your business. Certainly expert interviews. Every Wednesday night, I interview an expert live on the internet. It becomes a piece of content on my blog the next day. So think about how you can repurpose and recirculate content. Let's say you do a podcast, have it transcribed. That turns into another piece of content on your website. How you stay relevant in front of your audience is by constantly helping them through content. For the last 7-8 years, I have published 3 times a week on my blog, every Monday, every Tuesday, and every Thursday. I am consistent in that. I don't ever put up any content that's not helpful or relevant, and that's what you have to do. People should be able to set a watch to when they're going to get more content from you. But if you don't like writing, please don't make yourself crazy thinking that you have to write. because that's not good, right? You don't want to make your content creation stressful for you. Running a business is stressful enough, right? So you do want to develop content, but you want to do something that is comfortable for you. And certainly, how many of you guys have started using Facebook Live for your business, doing live streams? Facebook Live is hot and it's easy to use, so you definitely want to use it, but use it with intention. You know, don't use it just to be like, hey, I'm here, I'm in the mall. No, use it with intention about teaching people something of value. Now, let's talk about those of you who want to start selling online. When it comes to selling online, there's a couple things you got to think about. First of all, what you're going to sell and where you're going to sell it, whether you're going to sell it on your own website or if you're going to use a marketplace like Amazon or Etsy or eBay or something like that. So those are the things you've got to think about when you're going to start selling online. Now, when you want to choose a web solution to sell online, and when I say a web solution, I'm talking about Shopify, WooCommerce, you know, those kinds of websites that are built for people to sell online. There's a lot of different things you want to take into consideration. Number one, how much stuff are you selling? Like, how big is your inventory size? Are you going to have to give people different color options, different size options? Like, there's all kinds of different back-end support you're going to need. You also need to look at, does the site integrate with your other stuff? So when somebody buys something from you, now you need a shipping label, right? So does the website that you have integrate with other software or your shipping options, for example? So you might need to use ShipStation. Then you need to figure out how you're going to ship it to the person depending on the level of service they buy, or you could have an exclusive relationship with a shipper such as FedEx, right? So you do want to figure out how many different things you need to have happen so that you can figure out the best option for you. But really, you want to make sure that there's a lot of back office compatibility with your accounting software, your shipping, as well as how your actual labels and things are printed. So now let's talk about why you might want to go with, how many of you guys are selling through a marketplace like Amazon or Etsy or anybody? Anybody doing that? So there's a few of you guys in here doing that. Now I have a question for you guys doing it. Are you also selling on your own website too, or are you exclusively selling through the marketplace? You're selling in both places. So can you tell me what's the mix of, where does most of your sales come from? Does it come from the marketplace or does it come from your website? Your website. Okay, that's a good thing, because sometimes it's the other way around. And you know, whenever you sell from a marketplace, the first thing you got to think about is the cut Amazon gonna get, right? And that can be as high as 15 to how high, right? 30% sometimes, depending on which platform and how high the price is of the product that you sell. So there's obviously a lot of pros to selling on Amazon, right? Because who don't have an Amazon Prime account in here? Right? We all look, I order toothpaste from Amazon, be real. Like, I hate to go to the store. So Amazon has a lot of customers. But the thing about Amazon is that you also have to consider that Amazon has a lot of sellers. So there's a lot of other people competing with you in the same space. Excuse me. The other thing you need to think about is, what is it going to do for your business? The thing about Amazon is, you don't control the communications with the people who buy from you. So you might be allowed to, within 7 to 10 days to send an email, hey, did you like it? Excuse me. Did somebody grab me a bottle of water? Excuse me. So you need to figure out what you're going to do so that you can compete in the marketplace. And then you've got to figure out your own keywords and how you're going to stand out from searches within Amazon. So there's a lot of work that's still on you, but the best thing in the world is they got customers, they got millions of customers, and it's easy. They'll even do fulfillment for you if you want, but you pay more for that. All right, so what are the advantages of having your own website? Well, first and foremost, the best thing about having your own website is you own the relationship, right? You can communicate with your customer, and you can also build a rapport to do upsells. You can't really do an upsell with Amazon. Once somebody goes to the shopping cart, hits their credit card, that's a wrap. But when somebody buys from you, you can always do an upsell to them, after the fact on the thank you page. You can always send an email to them after the fact asking for a review, asking for, a referral. Now, what are the cons of having your own website? Well, first and foremost, you got to build and maintain your own website. You still have to come up with the keywords, and you have to spend the Facebook ads and the Google AdWords and all this stuff to drive traffic to your site. Nobody knows you exist when you have your own website, and so it's a lot of work. And you also have to think about what your website looks like. Your website can kill your brand as much as it can grow your brand. So you do really need to consider what the cons are of maintaining and managing your own website. Personally, when brands come to me, I tell them you always want to build your own website too, because you don't ever want to take up real estate you don't own. Because at any time, whether you're selling on Facebook or Instagram or any of this stuff, these people can change their rules and lock you out of your own customer base. So you always want to be able to draw traffic to your own website so you can build that all-powerful email list. That customer email list, honestly, is the most valuable thing in any business, and you really don't want to give up that to a marketplace solely. Now, pictures are everything. No matter what you're selling, if you got a great picture of it, people are far more likely to buy it. So one of the best things is that if you can show the product, if you can show people using the product, that's even better, because people always want to be able to imagine themselves utilizing that product in those shoes. So pictures are extremely important. And for those of you that are selling online, you also need to make sure you got some picture skills, right? So Instagram has given all of us a little bit of picture skills, right? We know how to put some filters on stuff, but you want to make sure if you are selling online, it's got to be on a white background. Right? When you go to Amazon, what does it look like? It's got to be on a white background. So you got to have the skills, basic skills enough to pop out whatever you're selling and put it on a white background. That's extremely important. Now, what are the biggest mistakes? What do you guys think are the biggest mistakes people make in selling online? Don't look up there, right? I got some up there. Do you guys have any other ideas about what are the biggest mistakes people make? Tell me. Audience is too broad, right? Not focusing on a niche customer, right? If everybody can use your product or service, nobody will. Not having inventory. Now that's the biggest mistake you can make, because it's awful for somebody to order something, and I don't know about you, but Lord, when people don't get their stuff, won't they go challenge you on PayPal to get their little money back? All right? So you got to make sure that you have enough inventory. But how many of you guys have lost the race on price? Price is a dangerous, dangerous game for a small business to play online, because there's always a bigger, badder entrepreneur that can go lower than you. So the race to the bottom is just not a race you want to get into as a small business. Plus, you always have to make sure at the end of the day you're making money, because if your business is not making money, that doesn't make any sense, right? The other thing you've got to think about too is a lot of times people think the only way to drive traffic to an e-commerce business is through paid search. And that's just not true. You need to make sure that you have ways to drive traffic to your website using organic search methods as well. Like I was talking about earlier, content and engagement outside of just, now listen, nowadays it's not enough for you to just put out content and hope they read it. You do have to have some mix of paid ads, whether it's paid Facebook ads or Google AdWords, but you don't want to become over reliant on that either, because all of that stuff can change at any moment. Your keyword could become the hot keyword. Next thing you know, they want $10,000 a month for your keyword. So you do want to make sure that you have multiple ways to drive traffic to your site. Now let's talk about social media. How many of you guys are using at least one social media platform? Keep your hands up. How many of you guys are using one social media platform? How many of you guys are using two to promote your business? Using two platforms? How many of you guys using 3 platforms to promote your business? How many of you guys using 4? How many of y'all using more than 4? Okay, I want to say this, and I'm going to say it twice because I want to make sure y'all hear me. Stop the insanity, right? I want you guys to really start focusing on only using 2. And the reason why is because you guys are spreading yourself too thin. There's only so many hours you have in the day. And when is the last time any of you looked at your Google Analytics of your website and figured out which social media sites are actually referring the most traffic to your site? You really want to focus. When I built my business online, I focused on Twitter and Twitter alone for like a year. Then I went to LinkedIn, then I went to Facebook. I wasn't out here giving love everywhere. I focused on dominating one platform at a time. And you need to also. The young lady that asked me the question earlier about how can she differentiate in her marketplace for her business, it's about giving your love where your biggest audience is. So what you need to do is spend a little bit of time listening and watching and finding out where your fish are online. And then you need to be where your fish are. But you don't need to be everywhere because there's only one of you, right? So you just don't need to be. And the other thing too is don't get into scheduling your content everywhere and putting the same piece of content up the same way on every platform. How many of y'all doing that? Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. Stop it. Stop it. I know what Instagram, they're evil. The same people that own Facebook own Instagram. Of course they make it easy for you to share it, right? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you change the way things are shared. If any of you follow my social media streams, I might have a title of my blog post, but when you see it again, it's got a completely different hook for why you should go and read it. And you need to make sure that your content is being shared in different ways. Now, you can share the same piece of content 3 or 4 times. That's not what I'm saying. You just can't share it the exact same way. I don't want in the same second to see that picture off of Instagram of me and you. I don't want to see it on all your pages at one time. Right? I want you to ease it out to them, right? So you might put it on your Instagram, but then you put it on your Facebook the next day, right? That's how you do that. So you want to think about what is the right platform for you. Now, this is the most important slide in my presentation, so I want to invite you guys to take a picture of this slide. Now, this is what I call the 6 C's of social media marketing. Now, the first C in social media marketing is I want you to connect. So it's one thing for people to give you business cards, but what you going to do with them? When you give me a business card, you know what I do? I go and look for you on LinkedIn. That's the first place I go. And if you ain't on there, you got now have a problem. Right? Because if you're not on LinkedIn, 75% of all professionals in the U.S. are on LinkedIn. So if I can't find you, what am I thinking about what you are? Right? So that's the thing. So you want to go out and connect with people on social media after you meet them. The second thing you want to do is actually communicate with them. How many of you guys just collect people on LinkedIn and then they become like witness protection, right? They never hear from you again, right? You want to make sure that you're actually reaching out and building relationships with people, even if they just get an email from you once a year, once a quarter. Don't just, this is not a numbers game. It's about quality relationships. People do business with people they like, know, and trust online and offline. But let me tell you how much harder it is to build those relationships online. It takes 7, as high as 21 quality interactions for you to build relationships online that turn into commerce. When I meet you face to face, typically it takes 3 interactions with a person face to face before you feel like, you know, that's a good guy. I think I'm going to recommend him for a piece of business. Usually it takes 3 quality interactions face to face. So you see how much harder it is? And that brings me to my next C, because after you communicate, what are you going to communicate with? You're going to communicate with quality content. But how often do you have to do that? Consistently, right? So I can't tweet out one blog post and you trust me as your small biz lady, right? I got to do it every week, 3 times a week for, 8, 9 years in a row for y'all to believe that I am invested in your success, yes? So what do you think you have to do for your business? The first dress you put out there, you think I'm gonna buy that? No, babe, no. I need to see some more. So you have to figure out how you're gonna build that rapport with your audience. But once you do that consistently, that's when you become a trusted member of the community. And once I trust you, that's when I'm going to give you my credit card, right? But what is the problem that people run into with social media? How many times have you guys had this happen? Have you guys had somebody connect with you on LinkedIn, and then 2 minutes later they sending you their pitch for what they sell? And then you be trying to figure out how to unconnect from somebody on LinkedIn, right? So what I'm saying is, don't be that person, right? Build the relationship first. It's really, really important. So the number one thing you've got to figure out is what your two platforms are, right? What do you want to be known for, and what is your two platforms you're going to focus on for social media? Very important. Now, let's talk about what it is you share. You should not share anything in social media that's not helpful. Now, I will admit, when I didn't like Rihanna's dress at the Met, I did share that on Twitter. You should not share anything that's not helpful. Now, but you can be, but you can be human, right? But I don't need to know stuff about you that's not relevant to how I do business with you. You know, you need to be consistent about what you talk about in social media. You also need to engage people, right? So if somebody shares your content, thank them. Or if you share somebody's content, say why you're sharing it, right? The third thing you've got to do is listen first, right? Don't assume you know the culture of the different social media sites, right? Because Snapchat people are not like Facebook people, are they? They're a little different, right? And unless you're trying to reach that group of people, stay off of Snapchat. Stay off of Snapchat. It ain't for us, right? Grown folks, grown sex, it ain't for us, okay? And then I want you to promote your own content with care, right? And so what do I mean by that? Nobody wants to be sold to, right? So you want to make sure that you're sharing your promotional content at a 4-to-1 ratio of the helpful content you're sharing. So for every 4 articles you share about how to be better at whatever it is you sell or how to solve this pain, then you can put a soft sell out there. But you don't ever want to be, buy my stuff, oh, by the way, buy my stuff. Do you want anybody talking to you like that? So don't do it, right? Just please don't do it. Now, when it comes to after you have built your website, then you've built your social media and you figured out what your flow is going to be on that, then you got to think about email, right? So how long do you think you have once you get somebody's email address to build a relationship with them? How long? Anybody? No. You got 90 days from when somebody gives you their email, from when they decide if they want to stay friends with you. So you want to make sure that once you get someone's email, you start nurturing the relationship with them. What is the best way to nurture a relationship with somebody? What is the best way to nurture a relationship? Okay, let me ask you another question. When somebody wants to date you and they take you out for a date, what is the thing that they do? Right, they buy you free food first, right? Okay, so the thing is that when you are building relationships online, what is the best way to nurture a relationship? Give away free stuff, right? Now let me talk about free stuff for a minute. Don't give them no junk, right? Because if you give somebody junk for free, why would they ever pay you? So here's the secret. You got to give away your best stuff free. Your best stuff, like something that they can't believe you're giving away free. Give that away. That's how you endear them. That's how you get loyalty. That's how you get 3 million followers live on the internet. So what I'm telling you is you've got to think about how you're going to do it. And then you've got to think about 2 or 3 ways that you're going to do it on your website. So first of all, you can ask them to, sign up for your newsletter. Okay, but what else are you going to do? On my website, I give away some other stuff. I give away a free ebook or free chapters of my book. I give away, sometimes that you can get a 30-minute consultation with me. We do a raffle every so often for that. So you got to figure out what it is about what you sell that you can give away, but you've got to give away something that's going to make somebody want to come back and find out more about you. So now let's quickly talk about SEO, because this is like the new thing that people are really scared of. And there's a lot of people out here taking advantage of entrepreneurs because you don't know the right questions to ask when you start looking at SEO. So let's just talk about that. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, right? These are the words people are using in search engines to find you. So let me just really get down here and talk about this, because SEO is something that you can't ignore it anymore. You know, it used to be you could just do great content and that was that. But now you really got to understand SEO. SEO is a long-term strategy though. So the thing I want you to understand is once you start investing in SEO, it takes at least 4 months for you to see results. So it's not the kind of thing where you're going to call them up after you pay them $2,000 and be like, where my traffic at? That's not how this works. It really is a long-term strategy, and it's an ongoing process because you're going to tweak things, right? You're going to change things. You're going to test things. And then really, at the end of the day, it's all about staying relevant and providing quality. If you do those two things, you will never go wrong. So now, when you're getting started with SEO, the first thing you've got to figure out is where is your traffic already coming from? And the best way to do that is to look at your own Google Analytics underneath your site. And what are the things you want to know about that? First of all, you want to know what keywords is driving the most traffic to your site, because you might get surprised. One of the things I learned about my website was that once a year, I write a blog post called 10 Bible verses every small business owner needs to know and I've been doing it since 2010. And those 7 blog posts are the top content on my site. And I write 1 blog post a year like that. And that's the top content. So if you Google business Bible verses, you will see me online, okay? So you need to figure out what are the words that people are searching for you. What are the top ones? And then you got to figure out if you want to change them or if you can figure out how to leverage them, right? Then you also want to know where are they coming from, right? What social media sites are bringing you actual traffic? In my case, 85% of the traffic that comes to my site is organic. But again, I've been blogging since 2008, right? So I have over 3,500 pieces of content under the hood of my website. I get on the first page of Google just for content. But you got to be blogging for an extremely long time. You also want to know on your website what pages they are spending the most time on your website. That's also extremely important. Now, when it comes to SEO, there's things you can do yourself. So number one, you're going to have to tweak your copy. There may be blog posts you have or content you have on your website. You got to go back in. Once you know what your best keywords are, you need to change some of that stuff so that you're using your keywords all through your site. You also need to make sure that you have calls to action on your pages so that your folks, when they come to your website, they know what you want to do. The other thing you got to realize is that Google likes to change that algorithm every so often. And when they do, that thing that was really working for you suddenly don't be working for you. So you have to make sure that you kind of stay on top of what the trends are. Now, if you don't have time to do this, that's why you pay folks, right? That's why you pay an SEO company. And we're going to talk a little bit about how to hire those folks. Now, one of the best things to do before you get started even engaging with an SEO firm is really before you even start developing content, is to find out the best keywords for your industry. Now, my favorite website to go find out keywords is SpyFu. And I love SpyFu because you can go on your competitor's website and put in SpyFu and find out what their keywords are. They might be buying AdWords against, right? So you can learn a lot about your competitors they don't even know. Obviously, Google Keyword Planner is a great tool. The only thing I don't like about them is you have to have an AdWords account in order to use their Keyword Planner. So it's like a little bit of a hassle because at the end of the day, they are trying to sell you AdWords. And then Word Tracker is another really good website you can use to find out keywords. Now, when it comes to using keywords, once you know what your best keywords are, you do want to use them carefully. You don't want to be, accused of a black hat tactic from Google by overstuffing your site with these keywords. So you do really want to use them naturally, how you would if you had common sense, right? And then you do want to make sure that you're using your keywords in the titles of blog content and in your metadata descriptions underneath the static pages on your site. Now, when it comes to leveraging how to really use power of SEO for yourself, obviously you got to leverage keywords. We just talked about that. You also want to be original, right? Nobody's looking for Me Too content anywhere. Nobody's looking for a Me Too anything. So you need to make sure that you're teaching your folks some new stuff. You obviously want to share your own content. It's not enough for you to just have it sitting there. You do need to have some regular social media promotion of your own content. And then you need to be using some SEO plugins. There is some really good help out here for you if you're just getting your feet wet into building your own website. So there's All-in-One SEO, WordPress by SEO by Yoast, and then there's Site Booster as well. Those are 3 really good SEO plugins. And then you obviously want to engage your network. You want to share other people's content so they are very willing to share yours. Now, I promised you guys that I like to give away free stuff, so here is the first thing I want to offer you. In my book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, I talk a whole lot more about these topics: how to build a great website, how to develop a content strategy, how to build a great crowdfunding campaign. These are all things that are specific chapters in my book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, which is in its 2nd edition. Y'all got that? All right. What? Oh, okay, what? Hold on, you got it? Take a picture of it. Going. Last picture of it. All right. All right, now, I promised you guys I do small biz chat. So let's just talk this really quick, and then I'm going to bring up a special friend of mine who's going to talk about how he leveraged SEO and social media to build his business. So one of the things I want to tell you guys is SEO is about stuff you can also do yourself. It's not just about paying folks to boost content on your site. So first of all, you want to develop a link building campaign. So there's lots of different ways you can do that, but going out and blogging for other high profile websites is a great way to build links. You also need to make sure you test the load speed of your own website, because that could be hurting you in search engines and with people. You also want to make sure, if you have a lot of content, that you're cross-linking to older pieces of content within new pieces of content. So I'm really good about going and finding an article I did 3 years ago and linking it to a new blog post. So you also want to be creating cross-links within your own site. Get you some press. There's all kind of press walking around here at the Black Enterprise Conference. So figure out how you can get yourself some press, and then get someone of influence to interview you. You certainly could come on Small Biz Chat and be one of my guests. So now what I would love to do is introduce you all to an amazing entrepreneur. His name is Raheem Diallo, and he was the FedEx Small Business Grant Grand Prize winner last year for the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest. How many of you guys know about this contest and have ever entered? Listen, FedEx gives away $25,000 to the grand prize winner, as well as $7,500 worth of services from FedEx Office. This is free money. You guys do not have to give back, and the contest launches every year in February. And last year, we had our very first Businesses of Color be the grand prize winner. Raheem, I want to bring you up. I'm really proud of this guy. He and his brother created an amazing business called Gin Jam. We call them the Gin Jam Brothers. And Raul is here. Yeah, please show us the product. They have a great traditional African ginger drink that is traditional in the African culture.
So essentially what we are is we're a beverage company. We're based out of Harlem in New York. We developed cold-pressed organic functional beverages based off of traditional African recipes. And this is the first product we launched. It's a ginger-based drink. It's fresh ginger, cold-pressed pineapples, lemon, vanilla, anise, and some organic cane sugar. It's amazing. We have some more bottles here. I can't give you all bottles, but we have cups, so we'll give you samples. All right?
Now, the reason why I brought him up here is because one of the key elements to winning the FedEx Small Business Grant Contest is social voting. You have to get people to vote for you. You have to have a social media following in order to have a chance at winning this contest. And Raheem and his brother did something really, really cool with social media that got their friends and family to support them. So I think you need to tell them the secret.
So essentially, just to kind of give you a bit of for those of you that don't know about the contest, when you sign up, usually there are about anywhere from 1,500 to close to 2,000 people that sign up. And the first stage is you need just to get people to vote for you on Facebook. And they can only vote once every 24 hours, right? Meaning that, you can put one post on Facebook, people will go vote, but you need to kind of keep convincing them to come back and vote. And we wanted to figure out a way to do that, because if you just post something on Facebook, they'll kind of filter it out, and most of your friends might not end up seeing it. So what we did is we created a group, as if we put together an event, and we named it, Help the Ginger Brothers Win, or something along those lines. I forgot the title. Now we changed it to Ginger Bros Ambassadors afterwards, because we realized that those are people that are really, supportive of us. So what we do is every day we'd go in there. Good morning, if it's Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget to go vote, And we'll always find something to put up there, because if you post it, anyone that's in the group will get a notification. So you're guaranteed to get a notification from us literally almost every morning. And that worked out really well. That's essentially how it ended up going from getting past the first round. And essentially at that point, you're down to 100 people, and you have to do a video and charm them, essentially. But yeah, the point being, we're a very small company. We still are fairly small, but it's something that we could leverage, and you can really pay for that. And had we not started out building our social media following very early on, we wouldn't have been able to kind of take advantage of that. So I wanted to push back a little bit on a few things that you mentioned about the platforms not being more than two. I just want to add a caveat to that. You want to focus on two to push up stuff. So for us, we are very visual. It's a product, right? So Facebook and Instagram works really well for us. But we also use LinkedIn and Twitter. And what I mean by that is, so LinkedIn, I primarily use my LinkedIn. The reason for that being, if you go on my LinkedIn, it shows, my name and where do I work. I work for Ginger Brothers. So if I give her my card, she goes there, look for me. She sees where I work. Odds are she'll want to know who's Ginger Brothers, right? So you kind of want to use it sporadically in that sense. And with Twitter, it's much more of a conversational piece. So earlier today, when we were at the Morning Bow event, for example, I took a picture. I posted that on Twitter and essentially talked at him, right, so that he can kind of talk back to you. So we're not big on Twitter, but if you're trying to kind of have a conversation with someone, we use Twitter. If you're just trying to show people product, if you have a visual product, you use that. If you have services or something along those lines, LinkedIn works really well for you. You can write articles, and then, like she said, YouTube. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. Kind of pick and choose. If you have something visual, use that. If you are consulting, be communicative, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. But do not focus on more than two, like she said. Just kind of add the other on there to kind of leverage that.
No,
I'm saying.
I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding. I love him. No, he and his brother were really, really smart and creative in how they built their following to qualify for this contest. And they're now not only, the grand prize finalists for the FedEx Small Business Grand Contest, but Raheem is about to be on FedEx's Entrepreneurs Advisory Board. So it doesn't end. I told him he is like Willy Wonka. He got the golden ticket. He don't know. He got the golden ticket. So thank you so much. We actually are going to give away something. Do we have the business cards to do the giveaway? So those of you guys that put your business cards in here, did everybody get a chance to do that? All right, well, bring it up. Come on. You got to move. Because we are giving away 2 pairs of tickets to Black Men Excel, which used to be known as the Black Enterprise Golf and Tennis. And so they have changed it into a men-focused event, but they are still down there golfing. So if you're into that, come on, give me your card, because I'm going to let my grand prize winner here pull some... We're going to pull some cards here. Come on, sashay it on down. Going once, going twice. Wait a minute, somebody said, wait, in the back. Come on. All right, now you got to shake that bowl up good, right? All right, shake it up. Raheem, I want you to pull.
All right.
They'll accuse me of cheating.
They'll accuse me of cheating.
No. All right, so our first winner of a pair of tickets to Black Men Excel in September is...
Nicole Thomas.
Who's Nicole Thomas?
RN.
Ooh, you got to be present to win.
Present
Sorry.
to win. Moving on. Terry Ellie.
Terry Ellie?
Terry Ellie? She left
Oh,
too.
look, I'm going to take these tickets. Y'all keep playing. Keep playing.
It's starting to get personal. You got a white one. Eartha Basin?
Eartha Johnson.
Eartha Johnson?
Wow.
Wow.
I'm about to ask y'all for a number between 1 and 100.
All right. Let's try this again. Jacqueline Keever?
Yay!
Come on down.
All right, we'll keep your card, and these tickets are courtesy of FedEx, so come and see us afterwards. We'll get all your information.
Just one more?
We got one more.
All right. Camille Newman.
Woo! All right. All right, see us afterwards. We got your stuff. Great. Thank you all so much.
So if you'd like to try some samples, we'd love to give you some. So step on down and see us, talk to us. I don't know if you have any questions that I can help answer about the competition or anything in general, I'll be more than happy to. Thank you.
And any of you all have any questions? I'm happy to take a couple. We've got a couple more minutes. The form for my book. Okay, just go to my website, and it's on the homepage in the banner. So if you go to succeedasyourownboss.com, that will get you guys to the free download of my book. Sorry about that.
We'll try to have cocktails down at the bar later today because it's a phenomenal cocktail mixer as well.
Yeah, and you guys like Moscow Mule? Their stuff is the bomb for a Moscow Mule. All right. Great. When you're done. Sure. Okay, I think we're done. Anybody that has any extra questions, I'll hang out. I'll answer them for you. Yep. I do it as a service, but a lot of times we just do it as a giveaway to my fans because sometimes we'll just put it up on Facebook or Twitter that I'm doing it on a particular day. So you got to follow me. You got to watch. You got to know when I'm going to do it. Well, I sell social media. Wait a minute. I sell social media for a living. So, like, I'm on all of them. But I'm telling you, if you're trying to build a brand like I did, I'm telling you what to do, right? How do you get on my podcast? I don't have a podcast, but if Tweet Chat, if you come every Wednesday night, all you have to do is use my hashtag #SmallBizChat to join the conversation. All right?
What was your transition from your 9 to 5 to what you do now?
Okay, so that's a longer story. All right, but I'll give you the cliff notes of it. So when I first started out after college, I was a television producer. And I got my dream job when I was 23, working in market forward television. And I hated it. And so I was like, Lord, I got to figure out something else to do. This is not my path. This is not for me. And so one day in the middle of February sweeps, I gave them folks their job back. I had a laptop, a fax machine, and a dream, and I went home and started my business. And my first business was a video production company. And I did that for about 7 years until I got pregnant with my son. And I got put on bed rest for 6 months, and it almost destroyed my business. But while I was on bed rest, I decided to write down all the expensive lessons I had learned in business, and that actually became my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. And it put me on a completely different path to become your small biz lady. So that's the super Cliff Notes story of that. All right. She was a publicist. Her name is Kathy Larkin, and she was a publicist. And her name of her business is websavvypr.com.
I probably feel like Melly Mel. I would have loved to.
Oh, you would have liked me to be Melly Mel online? Yeah, I could see FedEx hiring me as that. Yeah, yeah, I could have seen legal being like, who is this chick? That wouldn't have flown too much. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, I think it's always good if the president of the company is out and visible and talking to fans. So I think that if you, as the president of your company, want to do a Facebook Live every Monday morning and talking live to your fans about whatever, I think that's good because that makes them more loyal. That builds a tribe. You know, that makes people be like, oh, I'm rocking this brand, and I know the president. I talked to her on Monday morning. You know what I mean? So you definitely can incorporate other ways to engage. You can never go wrong engaging your fan base, ever. All right, I'm getting the wrap. So I'll be here for a couple minutes if you guys want to ask me a couple more questions, okay? But thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you.
Can I have the two winners come up, please? The two winners.